Hello out into the world and welcome to Alex Gaming. Today we are going to have a look at Humankind, a pretty new game that came out last week from Amplitude Studios and Sega. And it's a 4X game, which for those of you who don't know what 4X stand for, it's Explore, Expand, Exploit, and Exterminate. So we're going to jump right in. In this game, which is a strategic round-based game, you are starting as the nomadic tribe in the Neolithic Era, and as the nomadic tribes back in the beginning of Humankind actually did, you need to find food, you need to find curiosities in order to get science, and you can also fight small animals like deers or mammoths, although mammoths are kind of strong. So you start with one tribe, and with that one tribe person you can explore and try to find food, try to find curiosities, try to find anything that you need in order to become a real civilization. So in this Neolithic era, you only need one era star in order to proceed to the next era. You can see up here that there are 3 different ways in order to gain this era star. You can grow up to 5 population by finding food. You can find curiosities in order to get science, to get the knowledge star, or you can fight animals and kill 5 animals, and when you killed 5 animals, then you can get the hunter star. So you can see we found 15 food, and as soon as we find 5 more food, we are going to advance with another person here. So the fighting system is actually quite nicely and well done. It's very important how strong you are. It's very important the terrain around. So you can see here I'm attacking on a river, so this actually gives me -3 combat, but he's also standing on a river, so it's like equaling out. But as you can see, in a even terrain, it's pretty hard still to even win against one deer, which almost killed us. But as you can see, we grew a second population, and this population we can use in order to explore more, to find more curiosities, to find more food sources, to fight more animals, and advance into the next era. So once you've found enough food in order to grow to up to 5 population, or curiosities to get the knowledge star, or you fought enough animals in order to get the hunter star, you can actually choose to proceed to the next era. Every era you're going to get a choice of multiple civilizations that you can choose from, and each of these civilizations have different bonuses. So there are the affinity bonuses. Every civilization has different affinity bonuses, but there might be different civilizations with the same affinity bonus. And these affinity bonuses, they always have an active and a passive bonus. So you can see here, this is a militarist, the Hittites, the Egyptians are builders, the Babylonians are scientists, the Assyrians are expansionists, and for example, the Nubians, they are merchants, but for example, the Mycenaeans, they're also militaristic. And then there's the aesthete, for example, the Zoe. The second bonus is this more permanent bonus that you get with this civilization, and you will keep this bonus regardless how you change your culture, or you will always keep this bonus throughout the whole game. So there are different bonuses here as well, depending on what type of civilization this is. Then every civilization also has a unique district that can be built only once per territory. They are called emblematic quarters, and these districts, they are different for every civilization. Also, every civilization has a unique unit. So, for example, here, the Zhou, they have the Zanshi, which is some kind of cavalry, heavy cavalry. In order to really develop your civilization, you will need to create outposts. Those outposts, they take some time to establish, and they can claim territory. So you can see those white dotted lines, they're the territories, and with the outpost, this dotted line became blue, because blue is my color, and this will claim this territory. Also, I put up an outpost here to claim this territory, and I can also put another outpost in the next territory in order to also claim that. After a few turns, this outpost will be developed. So for example, this outpost still takes 2 turns in order to develop, and then we can choose to create a city out of the outpost. Granted, for creating the outpost and also for creating cities, you will need influence. Influence we found in the Neolithic era by the curiosities. There's also still curiosities around in this era that we can get and get even more influence, but there are different ways in order to get the influence. Now we have an outpost. We can evolve this outpost into a city, and this is our first city that we can start with. And in the city you have different possibilities. You can build districts, you can build units, or you can build infrastructure. The infrastructure and the districts you can build in the city evolve over time. You will gain science in your cities. With this science, you will be able to unlock technologies from the technologies tree. And with these technologies, you will gain access to more districts, more infrastructure, also more units. Depending on the type of terrain around your city, you will exploit these resources and you will gain those resources. So there are 4 different types of resources. There's food, which you basically need in order to grow your city and gain more population. There's industry, which you need in order to produce things like districts, infrastructure, and so on. And there's money, which can be used in multiple different ways. So for example, to fast build the infrastructure. And as I said, science in order to gain more technology. So you can see here, if I come here and I want to build a farmer's quarter, the farmer's quarter is going to extract food from the adjacent tiles. So I will need to choose a spot where I can get enough food in order to actually get something out of it. I can also build a maker's quarter. The maker's quarter is going to exploit the production around it, and it's going to nivelize the food that was here before. You can see here this tile has 2 production, 1 food. If I build a farmer's quarter, I will work the food but no production. If I build a maker's quarter, I will work the production and no food. As soon as you reach the ancient era, you will need 7 era stars in order to reach the next era. These era stars you can get through different things. There's the builder era star that you can basically get by building districts. There's the expansionist star, which you get by claiming territories and attach it to your cities. There's the esteem star, which is just getting as much influence as possible. There's the agrarian star, which you get by having more population. You have the merchant star, basically gain money. You have the scientist star. With every technology that you earn, or with a certain amount of technologies, you will get those scientist stars. And there's a military star where you need to kill enemy units, military units, in order to get those stars. Once you finish one of those stars, you will get fame. And you can see here, I get more as the Egyptians. I get more for my builder stars because I have the builder affinity. As soon as I have 7 of those stars, I can reach the second era and I can choose a different civilization, or I can choose to transcend with the Egyptians, basically keep my bonuses and keep being the Egyptians. Or, as I said, I choose a different civilization and then I will have different options, different bonuses that go along with that. And so every era has its proper civilizations that I can choose from. So I can also combine different bonuses and get like some kind of different build out of the different civilizations. As you advance through the eras, you will be able to see that you get more outposts, you get more cities, you get outposts attached to the city, so the cities actually get bigger, and you will have different cities interacting with each other or with their surroundings. You will also find different civilizations, like I found here the Greeks, and you can have relationship with those civilizations. So here you can see I have different treaties. I can trade, I can share maps, open borders, non-aggression pacts, and trade is actually a big part of this game. There's 2 types of resources that you can find on the map, and you can see strategic resources and there's luxury resources, and they're actually quite limited. So you can see in my terrain, I have here 1 copper, and I have down here 1 horse, but for some of the units you will need more than 1 copy, so I'm trading horses from the Greeks and also copper from the Greeks in order to maximize the amount of resources that I have. Same goes with the luxuries. You can see that luxuries have positive effects on your cities. So in this case, silk gives you stability, which is basically some kind of happiness mechanic. The more districts you have, the lower your stability of the cities are. And with these kind of luxuries, for example, you can increase the stabilities or also with other buildings. And the more luxuries you have, the better it is, because you get this wondrous effect, which is actually a better bonus on all of your city. Have more than half, or at least half of the luxuries that you required. You can see up here on the right screen all the luxuries and different resources that I have access to. And those I have access to through trade or through exploiting the territory that I own. Some of the resources are not yet known, so you can see here, for example, there's an unknown strategic resource with a question mark, and this will be only revealed later once I reach the era where it is unlocked. You win the game by accumulating fame. So the person with the most fame in the end of the game will win. How do you get fame? You get fame by acquiring those era stars. You can get fame by completing competitive deeds, which is basically one-off missions that you need to fulfill, or you can build wonders that different people can claim. So each wonder will give you a certain amount of fame, like the Forbidden City gives 100 fame, like what 100 fame, and so on. We now talked about how to accumulate the fame, but when is the game actually over? So there are different triggering events that finish the game or that end the game. One is by time, so you can see here the game ends in 125 turns. We are in turn 175, so it's 300 turns overall. After 300 turns, the game just ends. There's also the possibility, like I did in this game, to research all the technologies. So as soon as somebody reach the end of the tech tree and research actually all of the technologies, the game will end. Or there's also science projects that you can complete, like the race to the Mars or the race to the stars in general. So once you complete that, the game will also end. Or there's also the possibility you just finish off, kill every other civilization in the game. As soon as you did that, the game will also end and you basically trigger the end of the game. So you don't want to murder all the different civs if they are in front of you in fame and you're not yet catched up. So you should definitely catch up before you murder all the other civs. that's basically it for the base mechanics of the game. It's a pretty nicely well done game, very nice to watch with the small tiles and small people walking around, and here small trade going on and everything like this. Pretty complex, but if you play it on lower difficulties, you will be able to win anyway. And it is kind of complete if you compare it to other 4X games like Civilization that came out pretty vanilla without a lot of different mechanics, without a lot of different features. This game actually has a lot of different features, a lot of mechanics that I didn't even start to explain yet. So if you are in for a strategic game, for a 4X game that is complex, that gives you a little bit of a challenge, but it's also fun to watch and play, then this is definitely a game for you. And that's basically it with Humankind. I hope you liked watching. Leave a comment below if you liked the video, if you have any suggestions of what kind of content I could give you with this Humankind. I will probably do a playthrough, and there will be obviously also more content on other games. So just write down in the comments below what you liked, what you would like to see, and appreciate you being here. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye.